Alright, let's see if I can still do this. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. We are standing next to the Polderbaan runway 18 right. At the moment the only runway being used for arrivals. And the weather is typically Dutch, I would say. Actually quite warm, relatively speaking. Double-digit Celsius temperatures. We had some rain this morning, it passed away and we should stay dry the next couple of hours. What wind is blowing mostly from the south, I believe it was. Let me take you through the METAR if there is some time for it. At the moment, got a couple of departures back to back. This one being KLM flight 682, Airbus A388-200 arriving from Vancouver, Canada after 9 hours of flight, about to touchdown. No idea what they are doing here in the foreground. Vehicles have been driving back and forth. Looks like they are digging out the canal. Is that it? It sure looks like it. Making it more difficult for us to swim to the other side. If we wish to do that. So they have been stacking some things over here and they are driving back and forth every now and then to pick something up or drop something off. Authority also in the vicinity. I did see one of the bird control vehicles as well earlier this morning. Although looking around I'm not seeing them right now. What is visible behind me is the next airplane to arrive. KLM flight 1224 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle 737-800. Flight time 47 minutes. Par for the course. 12-year-old airplane, first flight March 2011. And a very good morning to everybody who has joined already. Hope you're doing well. You can see some wing fluff over the top foil and some cables emanating from the flap tips, vortices. Still high relative humidity. Bit of a pity, I was just a few minutes too late. The first 747 of the show, or at least I was hoping it would be the first 747 of the show, touchdown as I was finishing setting up. If I counted correct, there are still 4 or 5 more to come. All before 12:30. And just before 12:30, I believe the A380 was expected. It looks like we might have a little gap in between airplanes after the next airplane has landed. So let me brief you after this landing. Now, having just become visible, this is EasyJet flight 27850, an Airbus A319 arriving from Birmingham, where it left from 45 minutes ago. The airplane is 15 years old, first flight was in February 2009. And the first blood shot of the morning. Here we go. Righty, now the next airplane to arrive is going to be a Lufthansa CRJ. Still a bit out. Should become visible here sometime soon. Let me first take you through the current status quo. At the moment, let's begin with the METAR. I did refresh before going live, so this should still be the same METAR. We have a low ceiling, 500 feet, meaning that the airplanes will not be visible until shortly before touching down. Hopefully it will open up a little bit. I will show you the weather radar later. The moment we have an 11 knot wind blowing mostly from the south. Visibility below the ceiling is 10 kilometers or more. We have few clouds at 400 feet, broken clouds at 500 feet, broken clouds at 800 feet. The air temperature is 12 degrees Celsius, so that is roughly 54 degrees Fahrenheit. It is becoming broken clouds at 1,000 feet, so it is slowly opening up. Relatively high air pressure. In terms of quad squad arrivals, we have two Queens already in Dutch airspace. One from Nairobi, one from Baku. This is Cargolux A400. This is Silkway West, arriving from the east, ironically. Also a 400. Northeast of London, expected in half an hour from now. Arriving from Miami, Florida, a Cargolux 7478. We have a 7478, another one arriving from Miami, expected around 12:40. We have Suparna Airlines arriving around 12:30, probably going to be the last airplane for me for today. I will explain a bit later. And 10 minutes before that, the A380. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 747s and an Emirates A380. Runway usage, just refreshed, but nothing has changed. We are standing over here, the only runway being used for arrivals. And looking behind me, still nothing to see. Okay, cool. Runways 24, last week in use before major maintenance. Next week, the runway 2406 Kaagbaan will be closed until somewhere in the course of April. And the Aalsmeerbaar are still open for departures. We had an area of rain over the country. It is now leaving the country as we speak. This is the last hour. We are standing approximately at the yellow square. You can see it has become dry. Will it open up? That's the question. I don't think we're going to see the sun anytime soon, but we'll see. Back to the camera quickly. This is a Lufthansa flight 2302 CRJ 900 with big fat cables arriving from Munich. Alrighty. Well, I'm still coughing a little bit. Came back from holiday with a cold. It's mostly cleared already, but still every now and then a little cough. Nose still a bit clogged every now and then, but it's clearing up nicely. The vacation was nice, had good weather. It was a bit too warm actually. The snow got a bit slushy and bumpy in the late morning already, so it felt more like late March than early February. But I have seen the sun more hours in that little week than I have been seeing it in the Netherlands thus far since the start of 2024, so very pleased with that. Speedbird flight 430. But I'm going to turn back the camera We're waiting for the first queen to appear. Cargolux flight 2613, operated by Cargolux Italia, will appear shortly. The first queen of the show, a 747-400, arriving from Nairobi, where this airplane departed from 8 hours and 27 minutes ago. The airplane, 18 years old, first flight November 2005. And a very good morning to everybody who has joined in the meantime. Few highlighted messages. Qantas 747 just became a member. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Thank you so much for your support, Qantas. I hope you like the seats in the lounge. If they're not to your liking, do let me know. There is a complaint box where you can file your complaints or suggestions. And also a big thank you, Qantas 747, our latest member, for just now gifting a membership. So welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, and that is the Blackburst who has been gifted the membership. Don't forget to say thank you if you haven't done so already, but you probably have already, knowing you. Also, Mrs. Professor celebrating 5 months of membership writes, welcome back, boy. Hope your trip was great. Well, thank you so much, Mrs. Professor, for your continued support, and good morning to you too. Hope you're doing well. My vacation was pretty great. The skiing was a bit more work than I had hoped for, but there you go. Can't have it all. Saying you can't have it all. Well, this one did almost have it all. Or did it have everything? The sound, the visuals, the reverser, the spray. Did we miss anything? Or is this a full bingo card landing? I think it might be a full bingo card. Terrific. And there's more coming. This is just the first of 5. Had I been a few minutes earlier, it would have been 6. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to linger on the departure of the 747 leaving the runway, because American Airlines is coming up next. Flight 204, a 7878 Dreamliner arriving from Philadelphia. Is that? Oh no, I thought I heard a siren, but it was a departing airplane coming this way. So American Airlines flight 204 arriving from Philadelphia. 6 hours and 38 minutes on the way. 7878 Dreamliner, 3 years old. First flight February 2020. Oh yeah. The butt shots, that's the one we missed from the 747, but then again, such a heavy lady, you cannot expect her to take the first exit. The Dreamliner, on the other hand, is providing us with a nice little booty shot. Now also a big thank you to John, who just now gifted another membership. I see that Justin was gifted the membership by John. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to say thanks. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, Justin and John. Once again, thank you so much for gifting a membership to Justin just now. And Tiger celebrates 5 months of membership. She says, good morning to you too. Herzlich willkommen, good to see you again. Hope all is well. And thank you so much for everything you have been doing so far as a valued member and as a very valued moderator, Tiger. Thank you so much for your support. Good morning to you too. This is Turkish Airlines. Flight 1951. There's an airplane flying overhead, so I had 2 labels on flight radar. Took a little moment to get the right label up. 1951, arriving from Istanbul, A330-300. 9 years old, first flight, October 2014. The next airplane is approaching. It is an A320neo. I'm also once more being watched by either Russell or Cheryl. Hard to see which one it is from over here. For the rest, I am mostly alone over here right now. Don't think there are any birds in the water. I haven't seen any walking up here. Oh wait, no, I'm not completely alone here. Forgot those 2 gentlemen also walked by earlier as I was setting up. Now, someone still hasn't picked up their OV feeds, their public transportation rent-a-bike. It was standing here before my vacation and it is still standing here. It still seems to be intact. The saddle hasn't been stolen. No other parts seem to have been stolen. So kudos for the Polderbaan visitors for being so honest. This is SAS flight 1553 arriving from Stockholm, an A320neo. Flight time 1 hour 47 minutes. The airplane first flight was in the airplane's first flight was in March 2022, making this still a year old, but turning 2 next month. And it seems to have had a nose job. Saw a concept picture of the new KLM livery that they are planning on putting on the A321neos. Color scheme is going to be the same, but they will keep the nose blue and the white bottom side will begin a bit further to the back, so that the entire nose part of the airplane is going to be blue, which makes it easier if a nose cone needs to be transplanted so that they don't have a white nose like we sometimes see with the other models. Now, Qantas747 also super chatted and said, I love watching your live streams. So thank you so much for your kind words, Qantas. I really appreciate that you like the streams. I do my best. I hope you will continue to like them. And I hope, of course, this goes for everybody. Thank you so much for your kind words there and for your super chat, Qantas. Speaking of Qantas, such a pity that they don't fly directly to Amsterdam anymore. They do fly to London, but not to Amsterdam. Then again, back in the day, back in the day KLM also used to fly directly to Australia. Or at least directly, yeah, I think it was directly, probably to Perth. Was that? Or did they stop in between? They probably made a pit stop in between. Since fuel economy back in the day was not as good as they are today. It is today, on average, I should say. Right, well, no time to waste. Queen number 2 is coming. Silkway West Airlines flight 201, arriving from Baku, 747-400. Flight time 4 hours 54 minutes. This airplane is 24. First flight was in February 1999. A nice millennial. Let's look and listen. Not too bad, not too bad. I think I like the first landing better, but only slightly. This one also had it all. Although I think the other one was a bit louder. Or is that just my ears now having been broken by the sound of the first landing and making the second landing sound a little less loud? Or maybe my ears clogging up once again. That could also be the case, I don't know. Now, I'm running behind highlighting messages, apologies for that. Also a big thank you to Aphrodite for celebrating 7 months of membership. Amazing show, still happy for being a mod. Well, I'm still happy to have you as a mod. I hope you are going to continue to do that for many months more to come. But as soon as you don't have the time for it, don't like it anymore, just say the word. That goes for all moderators, of course. But thank you so much for your continued support, Aphrodite, as a member and a very valuable moderator. This is Delta Airlines Flight 74, A350-900, arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. 7 hours and 37 minutes of flight time, a 737 flight time. Alright, Croatia Airlines up next, an A319 today, flight 450 arriving from Zagreb, will appear pretty soon. It is Croatia Airlines itself, not the, what was it again, Trade Air I believe it was. And also flew a couple of times the route on behalf of Croatia, at least in the week leading up to my holiday. I also see that Koen asks if my ribs are still in good order. They definitely are, mate. They were pretty good already before going on holiday and I never fell once. So everything is still okay. David asks, what kind of camera are you doing this going live with? This is a Canon XA60. I also have a Canon XA40. Both are very similar. Right, am I up to speed again with the... I think I am. Cool. Let me quickly go back to the... camera. It is still very mushy over here. You might pick that up on the mic as I'm walking around my tripod. I actually used to stand a few meters further from where I'm standing today, and where is it? There are still semi-puddles over here in the grass, over here where I'm standing as well. It's a bit swampy. Still waiting for that. Still waiting for that summer heat to dry the fields over here. Make the grass a little bit drier. Now, talking about white-nosed airplanes from KLM, here is one. Today it is arriving from Panama City, not from Cartagena, as it was the last couple of times. Getting a white nose from Colombia. But Panama City is also infamous for the white stuff. Another trade hub, so who knows. What this airplane has been doing before going back to the Netherlands. Anyway, this 787-10 Dreamliner, KLM flight 758, just touched down after 9 hours and 5 minutes of flight. The airplane, a year old, first flight June 2022. Right. Maybe audible for you guys, but not visible because above the clouds already is an Air Baltic A220 going to Riga. And having just appeared from clouds is EasyJet flight 23857, an A320 arriving from Milan, Austrian registered, flight time 1 hour and 32 minutes. The OEIVF, okay. Banking left and right a little. Seems to indicate there's more wind than I'm feeling here on ground level. And Ronald, yes, I have had a good time. It was a beautiful vacation with lots of sunshine. Temperature's a bit too warm, but at least it was sunny. With the exception of the last skiing day on Friday, which I did not go out for too long. It was snowy, drizzly, low visibility. Already had to work most of the week plowing through sludgy snow and bumpy snow. So took it easy, went for a walk instead, which I thought was going to be more relaxing, but turned out not to be because it was drizzly and there was snow on the walking path and not a lot of grid or anything that should give pedestrians a little bit of grip. Walking over the path was placed, so it was quite slippery and icy and almost fell a couple of times, so it was not as relaxing as I had anticipated it would be. Look at that. A true Dutchie on his bicycle, standing there, having a look at what's going on over there. Now, Embraer 190 from British Airways. That can only mean one thing: the BA City Flyer between London City and Amsterdam. Well, I thought you were a member already, Mr. Peterson, but he just became a member once again. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, Mr. Peterson. And also a very, very big thank you for a very very generous super chat for DL74 from Atlanta. Yeah, it was a beautiful airplane and a beautiful landing, wasn't it? And you are a Delta fan, I know that. I hope there are more Deltas coming this morning, particularly the A330s. I think there is still a lot of moisture on the runway, and when those A330s go wild with their reversers, we might get some nice sound and some nice spray. Unlike with this E2 Embraer, which is a bit subdued. The engines are massive, but that's the only thing that impresses. Well, I mean, obviously it impresses with its silence and its efficiency and the big engines, but it's not the loudest of airplanes. Well, our next airplane is going to be an EasyJet A320neo arriving from Copenhagen. Unfortunately, visibility still not that great, so still only one airplane glide slope shots so far. Hopefully it's going to improve a little bit, but not too optimistic. We're going to see a big change in the upcoming 2 hours. I will have to wrap it up after the A380 and the Suparna 747 have landed, which is going to happen around 12:30 or so. I'm expecting a delivery of a mattress, which I ordered last month and was expected to be delivered today, and I got a text message earlier in the week that they are expecting to be delivering it between 2 and 5 p.m. today. I will receive a phone call beforehand, so I really have to be in time back home again today. Shouldn't be a problem. Also not sure if there are a lot of interesting airplanes coming immediately after the Suparna 747 and the A380. They are relatively early still today. And indeed, Delta Airlines Flight 162, the A330neo, is number 2 for now. Flying mattress, Paul says, well, my old mattresses will probably be flying out of the window if they fit through to the front yard or to the backyard, so that I can bring them away. Have a look at those cables or wing flap tip vortices that you see emanate from the tips of the flaps. Also beautiful to see some wing fluff over the top foils of both wings, indicating high relative humidity. Now, I also am receiving a notification from PayPal that I just got a donation from Frits Vibrock. Thank you so much, Frits, for your PayPal donation. I did receive it in good order. I hope you're watching and listening in. Thank you so much for that nice donation via PayPal. Thank you so much, Frits. Now, let's quickly turn back. Delta Airlines Flight 162 up next, arriving from Minneapolis, Minnesota, A330 900 or Neo. This airplane has been flying for 7 hours and 33 minutes to get from Minneapolis to Amsterdam. The airplane is a year old. The first flight was in March 2022. We'll be turning 2 in a month from now. Our next airplane to arrive is a Dreamliner 7878 from TUI Flight 365, arriving from Bonaire in the Caribbean. 8 hours and 14 minutes of flight time. 9-year-old airplane, first flight January 2015. Also a big thank you to Marion for your super chat. Marion writes, enjoying your stream so much. Welcome back, boy. Well, thank you so much for your kind words, Marion. I'm glad you're enjoying, and I hope everybody does and is. And if you haven't done so already, but you are liking what you're seeing, don't forget to drop a like and make sure to subscribe if you want to stay informed of upcoming live streams. Also, Karma Lichi, thank you so much for gifting a membership just now. I see that Dana was the recipient of the gifted membership. Dana, knowing you, you probably already said thank you to Karma Lichi. Karma Lichi, thank you so much once again for gifting a membership. Dana, welcome back to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Now, our next airplane coming up is one that has the potential to get loud. It is Aeromexico Flight 25. It is a Dreamliner arriving from Mexico City. Now, the Dreamliner, you might think, is a dime in a dozen, but when using the reversers, they can get loud, and Aeromexico is a carrier of which the pilots do regularly use the reversers over here in Amsterdam. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we are going to get a loud landing. Jack Allen asks if any big jets are incoming. Let me also take you guys through the current status quo in a minute. Also, Dutch SV650 gifted a membership. Koen was the recipient. Thank you so much, Dutch SV, for the gifted membership. Welcome back, Koenie. I'm sure you probably already said thanks. Welcome back, and make sure to use those custom emojis whenever you feel the need. That goes for all members. They're there for a reason. Use them, and use them a lot. Aeromexico Flight 25 arrived from Mexico City, 7878 Dreamliner. Nope, not today. Captain let down on the wheel, behind the wheel. Right, let's have a look. Talking about big jets, Queen number 3 is coming in next. It is the first 7478 of the show. Another one is coming in also from Miami, Florida. This is Cargolux, and it only says 68K on flight radar. It's a 7478 coming in from Miami, Florida, where it left from 7 hours and 40 minutes ago. The airplane is 10 years old already. The first flight was in March 2013, so in a month it is turning 11. Let's look and listen. And we're going to get photobombed. And hey there, Mr. Blue Sky and Jannes, good morning. Anna, goedemorgen. All other viewers who have joined in the meantime, good morning to you all. Goedemorgen, George. Good to see you again, mate. So they are still busy doing stuff over there. Making the canal deeper, I don't know. Did look like it earlier. Now I see that that vehicle that just passed by is doing something over here, dropping off some plates by the looks of it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, members, get out your playtime emoji and perhaps also your butt shot emoji ready. The next airplane coming in is Play Flight 460, arriving from Reykjavik, Iceland, an A320 Neo. Flight time 2 hours and 35 minutes. A brand new airplane, meaning less than a year old, but this airplane is going to turn 1 next month in March. I also see that I have to update the ticker, which I am going to do after the landing of this airplane. The first airplane to runway 18 center. I see now on flight radar a Qatar Dreamliner. Runway opening that was to be expected. Alright, as I'm turning back the camera so that we can see the next airplane approach once it becomes visible, and it's going to be a TAROM 737-800 arriving from Bucharest. Let me also take you through the current situation over here in the Netherlands. Well, you can already see it is still grey. They should call this country the Mehtherlands, M-E-H, instead of Netherlands, because the weather is always meh over here. It is warm though, relatively speaking. I will show you in a minute. We did have rain that is moving away. Let's indulge in the... Where is the satellite? I have to go back to the homepage probably. There we go. Is there any sunshine upon us? Maybe a few more openings, but nothing substantial. Right, we still have a ceiling of 600 feet and a lot of clouds shortly above that, so low visibility, unfortunately. The next airplane, TAROM, let me also... And you can see the Qatar airplane in the background. Coming in. Wind just above 10 knots, mostly from the south, so headwind mostly, nothing too exciting. The airplanes that we are still waiting for, the next 747-8 arriving from Miami, Florida, from Atlas Air, is now flying over the southwest of the United Kingdom and is expected in 15 minutes from now. The Emirates A388 over Slovakian airspace east of Vienna is expected in 1.5 hours from now, and the Suparna 747-400 arriving from Nanjing is expected just over 10 minutes behind that airplane, after that airplane. Runway usage, according to LVNL, hasn't changed. Well, I'm pretty sure that this runway will probably close, and this one has already reopened. We already saw that on flight radar, so let me update the ticker once I have the time for it. Let's first focus on the next airplanes coming in. Don't want to lose too many airplanes from being busy with other stuff. Embraer 190 KLM City Hopper, flight 986, arriving from London City. Flight time 40 minutes. The airplane 10 years old, first flight January 2014. Now, it's been a while since we last saw Captain Wheelie. It is about time we should see him or her again. Will this be the return of Captain Wheelie? I don't think it is going to be that. No, nose wheel already on the ground. Better luck next time. Hey Jens, goedemorgen kerel. It has been a while. Hope you're doing well, mate. Alrighty, now the next airplane to arrive is going to be Air Canada flight 808. And let me quickly copy paste that METAR into the ticker. Now I'm going to go ahead and call the closure of runway 18 left in favor of opening 18 center for arrivals, which is probably what is going to be visible on the website of LVNL shortly. 18C. There we go. Alrighty. Hadi Paula, goedemorgen. Good morning to you. Hope all is well. Traffic on both sides, on the cycling path and moped, and over here this crane, this Volvo. It has a number plate. Total hip prosthetic. Prothese in Dutch. THP. Total hip replacement. But that doesn't match the abbreviation. Air Canada flight 808. 7879 Dreamliner arriving from Toronto. And Anna says, so THC is late for work today. Absolutely. Oh yeah, I forgot. And indeed, a lot of gold diggers around here, Paul. As is a well-known fact that there's a lot of gold in the ground around Schiphol Airport. It's also the reason why the western half of the Netherlands is below sea level. It used to be above sea level, but there was a gold rush and everybody started digging, and they dug the whole western half of the country below, a few meters below sea level. Alrighty. Despite no lack of humidity in the air and water around me, do also have to take a sip of water every now and then, and come to the conclusion that it seems that at the moment the traffic is going to the other runway, which begs the question, are they going to do an inspection of any sorts over here? Not seeing any flashlights or bird control vehicles on this side of the airport or runway area in the distance. Have they already moved to the north then? Oh, what's that? That's a duo of birds. Is that the family Seagull? I think it is. Sally and Stephen Seagull. Doing some evasive maneuvers. Right, well, let's see. Visibility, of course, not that great. Doesn't mean we cannot see any airplanes, but we will have to look a bit better to see them. The one arriving from London is already out of sight. Or is it? Is this the one? Oh yeah, no. There you go. KLM flight 1002 arriving from London Heathrow, 737-800, flight time 42 minutes. Now ordinarily this would have been an airplane landing on Polderbaan, thinking they're going to do an inspection of the Polderbaan pretty soon. Does provide a nice angle to see the top foil wing fluff. Now I'm curious, the next airplane is a bit bigger. KLM flight 598 777-300 ER arriving from Cape Town, South Africa. Now that 737 became visible somewhere in this quadrant of the sky, so I'm thinking the same will happen to the 777. The airplane we're about to see has been flying for 11 hours and 10 minutes to get from Cape Town to where it is right now. Trying to listen. I think I hear it. There it is. $11 and 10 minutes underway from Cape Town, South Africa to where it is right now. The airplane itself is 11 years old. The first flight was in June 2012. KLM flight 598 arriving from Cape Town, South Africa. Okay. Yeah, stuff in the way a little bit. Hey, and that's the A350-1000 from Cathay on the move, outbound, back to Hong Kong. Right, that was the triple. Now, let's see. I do believe that there is a Ryanair 737 arriving from Dublin up next for Polderbaan. Before that, we are going to see a couple of airplanes go to, well, one at least more, going to center. Probably somewhere over there it's going to become visible again. KLM flight 1818 arriving from Berlin, 737-800. 56 minutes of flight time. 23-year-old airplane, first flight, September 2000. Do hear some birds chirping, giving it a bit of a early spring atmosphere. Auditory. Visually it still looks like midwinter. Anyway, Jackie, goedemorgen. Veldi, guten Morgen. RDW, goedemorgen. And Roleon, good morning from Paramaribo. Alrighty, our next airplane should become visible shortly. Ryanair flight 420 arriving from Dublin, Ireland, 737-800, flight time 1 hour and 6 minutes. 5-year-old airplane, first flight September 2018. Now, Ryanair does sometimes use their reversers on the 737s landing on Polderbaan. If they do get used, they do get loud, so fingers crossed. There's also an ITA Air coming to the center runway I see behind the Ryanair we're expecting on Polderbaan. It is a nice blue one. Let's also see if we can pick that up. And after that we are going to see more traffic coming to Polderbaan once again, including an A320neo from ITA arriving from Rome, which is now turning final, and that's also in the standard blue livery. Ryanair butt shot, here we go. And Dana says, oops, here comes the boss. See you in 15 minutes. Who knows, maybe the boss likes this content as well. You never know. Right, the ITA Air to the center runway. I think it should become visible shortly. Probably somewhere over there. ITA Air arriving from Milan. Regular A320. Flight 120. There it is. Current flight time 1 hour and 32 minutes to get from Milan to where it is right now, and this airplane has been flying for 14 years, since April 2009. ITA Airways flight 120. And I see Miss Wolves is also back in the chat. Good morning, Miss Wolves. Hope all is well. Are you guys having similar weather over there as we do over here right now? Typical Dutch, if not British weather. The Mehtherlands, where the weather is always meh. Although, luckily not that windy today. And also definitely not cold. Double-digit temperatures in Celsius. In the 50s Fahrenheit. Relatively warm for the time of year. But grey AF. As always, as almost always I should say. This is KLM flight 1516, Embraer 175, arriving from Norwich. This airplane has been flying for 31 minutes. 6-year-old airplane, first flight May 2017. Hey, what is up, JD? Good to see you. Missed the start. Well, it is a regular workday for most people, so you are excused, JD. Hope all is well. Hope all is well with everybody, of course. over here. Feels like I'm standing in swamp country. As I'm walking around my tripod, oh, that's just too low to see. It is mushy, you probably hear it. Ground here is fully satiated with water. Tractor, also again, gave the fella a wave, but I don't think he saw it. Focused on not going off-road. Alright, next up, ITA Airways, this time up close to Polderbaan, and not a regular A320 but an A320 Neo. This one is arriving from Rome. ITA Airways flight 108. Flight time 2 hours and 9 minutes. The airplane a year old, first flight December 2022. Now it is 11:05. Was there not another 747 expected pretty soon? Let me have a quick peek after this airplane has landed. The next airplane, if I recall correctly, was another 747-8 arriving from Miami from Atlas, which was flying over the southwest tip of England. Last time I checked, thinking it is probably approaching from the west. Let's have a look in the cockpit. Ciao ragazzi! E buona giornata! Bird control vehicle also spotted. Hard to miss with the lights on, coming this way. Let's have another quick look at the current situation out there. The big birds that are expected. Let's see. Here we go. We have Atlas Air now flying over London, so that is expected in 32 minutes. 11:40 it was. Okay. The next airplane after that is 12:20, and that is the last airplane for today, 12:35. Okay. That's the upcoming finale over here for today. Now, and Alan also just now gifted a membership, I see. Thank you so much, Alan. And T14 Studios was gifted the membership. Don't forget to say thanks to Alan and welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, T14 Studios. Alan, once again, thank you so much for the gifted membership. A320 Neo arriving from Manchester, EasyJet flight 27862. Pilots being fully focused on their work, as they should be. Hey, Father Norman, also back in the stream. Good to see you, mate. Hope all is well. I have missed the Schiphol streams. Well, there are other streamers as well out here. If you really get withdrawals, they might also be worth having a look at. And also, buona giornata to Alessandro. Saluti da Roma, saluti back from Grey Amsterdam. Marsha asks if I also sometimes stand at a different runway. Well, sometimes, but this is where I stand the majority of the time. If there is a lot of wind blowing from the west and the buitenvelderbaan is being used, that is also a location I like to stand at. Kaagbaan, I don't like that much. Hard to reach, hard to park, also not the best of views. But in the summer, sometimes it is nice for a change. But this is definitely the location I stand along the most, this runway. Russell still watching. And Transavia, or KLM I should say, this is the rental 737-700 from Transavia that KLM has rented. Today, having returned from Copenhagen, KLM flight 1126, the old standard livery, more colorful than the monotonous green that the current standard livery is made of. Returning from Copenhagen, flight time 1 hour and a minute, that is par for the course. Copenhagen is roughly an hour away from here, as is Dublin. There is the Crow crew. 3 of them right now. Alrighty, KLM flight 1422 up next, arriving from Birmingham. This is another Transavia airplane. This one is the current standard livery, also rented out to KLM. And Kamaru says hello from Singapore. Hello to you too. Welcome. Viewers from so far away. Always surprises me that people from so far away find the stream. The wonder of the YouTube algorithm, I suppose. Norwegian with no grumpy people depicted on the tail this time. Max 8 arriving from Stockholm. Right, let's see. Next up is going to be the Corendon A350. The rental from World to Fly. Dedicated flying between Willemstad, Curaçao and Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. Flight 598, flight time 8 hours and 5 minutes. The airplane is a year old. The first flight was in April 2022. And Josephine, thank you so much for your super chat. Josephine writes, oh boy, don't complain please. On Monday here in southwest Sweden, it rained on frozen ground for over an hour. Equals ice rink all over, then snow for 30 minutes. Rain 10-ish minutes for 3 hours. So swimming pool on top of the ice rink. Wow, that is some extreme weather. Absolutely nothing coming close to what nothing we have over here comes close to something that you just now described. Did you guys also have some sunshine in between? That I wonder. It's always gray over here. It's not so much that it is rainy over here, it's always gray. I think that's what I dislike the most about Dutch weather. And it is a national hobby of the Dutch, complaining about weather. QJ asks, boy, what do you think about the new design KLM will use on the A320neo? Well, In fact, I referred to it earlier because I saw the picture yesterday and I think I like it. It's a very subtle change, but it does make replacing a nose cone more easy, or at least they can spray them blue beforehand and just put it on without it looking like a clown's nose. I think I like it. Of course, those iterations are very subtle each time. The color scheme stays the same. The general big picture also. And Exquisite Visuals says hello from Hong Kong. Welcome, first of all. And also asks, do you have plans of coming to Hong Kong? I like that question. I don't have any plans to come to Hong Kong anytime soon, but I definitely would like to go there sometime later in life, but I don't know when that is going to be, but definitely on my list of locations I want to visit still. But I haven't planned anything anytime soon just yet. Now in the meantime, parallel arrivals are still very much in progress. There's an Icelandair Max 8 coming into center, and preceding it to Polderbaan is an Embraer 190 KLM flight 984 arriving from London City. Behind that airplane, also coming to Polderbaan, is Delta Airlines flight 72. I think, is that the first Delta A330-300? It is one of the few at least, if not the very first of today's show. Has the potential to get loud, but I said that about a couple of other airplanes this morning as well, and that seemed to have jinxed it, so let's just wait and see. Sanatani Joe is watching from Seattle. Good morning, mate. Welcome to the show. Hope you're liking what you're seeing. And Hakan is tuning in from Sweden as well. Good morning. Hope you're doing well, Hakan. Or is it Hakon? Not sure how to pronounce your name properly. Probably mispronounced it. Apologies for that. The Fizo has landed. Alrighty, next up, Delta Airlines flight 72, an Airbus A330-300 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. Flight time 7 hours and 56 minutes. The airplane 18 years old. The first flight was in March 2005. Well, for a moment there I was excited. Heard the reversers spool up, but it was only short-lived. Hadi Martin R, Hadi Ton, goedemorgen heren. Martijn, goedemorgen. Georgios, good morning, good to see you again, mate. Hey there, Grant, good evening to you too. Hans, goedemorgen. And Joel asks, did I enjoy my holiday? I definitely did. Had lots of sunshine, with the exception of the last 2 days when it became cloudy and started snowing / drizzling a little bit. But the remainder of the week, the first 5-6 days, mostly sunny, hardly any clouds, beautiful weather. Bit too warm, but much rather have this than clouds all day and cold. So yeah, great holiday. And I also came back with the flu, with the common cold, I should say, which is now almost cleared, so my immune system has also been reinvigorated because of it. That's the silver lining. At least that's the way I like to look at it. Right, a duo of landing lights coming this way. On the left we have bird control vehicle K something something. Looks like the VW, or is it a different vehicle altogether? Oh, it might be an authority vehicle now that I look closer. And on the right we have a German Airways Embraer 190 flying for KLM as KLM flight 1050 landing and arriving from Bristol. Yeah, that was an authority vehicle. No, LVNO. Okay. All those yellow vehicles look the same from the front. And the Aegean A321Neo landing on center. Further up ahead. Right, Embraer 175 coming to Polderbaan up next, arriving from Brussels. Muscles from Brussels, KLM flight 1726. Now Brussels sprouts are tiny and this route is also tiny. The flight time just 31 minutes, 88 nautical miles according to Flight Radar. Brussels, Amsterdam. The airplane is 6 years old, first flight June 2017. Now it is 11:22 on my phone, which means that in 20 minutes from now a Boeing 747-8 will be arriving from Miami, Florida. Atlas Air, one of two more 747s expected before 12:30 local time. The second one being Suparna, now flying over the south of Sweden. The aforementioned 747-8 is flying over the North Sea, and as you guys could also see, there is an Emirates A380 coming this way, having just crossed into German airspace, expected at 55 minutes, in 55 minutes from now. Runway usage, okay, they have closed runway 24 in favor of 18 left, okay. My bad, what a mistake to Micah. I will correct that in the ticker right after this landing, because the next airplane is already approaching. It is a KLM Embraer 190 arriving from Aberdeen, flight 1442, flight time 1 hour and 5 minutes. The airplane 15 years old, the first flight was in November 2008. The friendly neighborhood, the police also patrolling again. Always nice to see the fellows. Now, the next airplane to arrive is going to be number 175, arriving from Southampton, KLM flight 918. Let me quickly dive behind the computer, update the ticker in terms of runway usage. Departures 18 left. There you go. Right, that's sorted. Back to the camera controls it is then. Oh, that is a siren. Is that moving or? Let's have a look. Thought I heard a siren. Do see some lights in the distance, but that seems to be a truck being stranded, or at least standing along the road. That's not an emergency vehicle. Right. False alarm, or at least not what I was hearing. I did hear a siren, but I'm not seeing the emergency vehicle anymore. Right, it is time for more Embraers, and it is KLM flight 1198 up next, and Embraer 190 arriving from Stavanger. Flight time 1 hour and 11 minutes. The airplane 10 years old, first flight November 2013. I also see that Captain Eddie Boss is back in the chat. Captain Eddie Boss, good to see you again, mate. Hope all is well. A very good evening to you. Oh, and I see that Maria had to go. Heard her bat calling. If you are still around, sleep tight, Maria. And if you're hearing this on rerun, I hope you had a good night's sleep. Let's have a look. Morning, mates. Already little butt shot to boot. Martin Air asks if the Corendon A350 already landed. It definitely has already landed, Martin. On Polderbaan. Although I don't recall what time it was. Not too long ago, I think less than an hour ago. This next airplane is a Boeing 737-800 from KLM, arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle, where this airplane left from 46 minutes ago. 23-year-old airplane, first flight April 2000. Nothing out of the ordinary in terms of flight time, etc. Indeed, I am back, Super G. Has it been the most productive month this month so far in terms of outputting content, but we should get better weather sometime soon, and I don't have any holidays planned for the upcoming time, so things should pick up again on the AMS Live front pretty soon, hopefully. Next up, another Embraer 190 from KLM, or at least flying for KLM, German Airways, one of the rentals, arriving from Newcastle. Embraer 190 short range, German registered. 16 years old, first flight January 2008. This one is just as old as Chucky and as the PHBVA Orange Pride. 55 minutes of flight time from Newcastle to Amsterdam. Right, now I see that the stack for the glide slope stack for the center runway is almost filled to the brim. Two back-to-back E2 Embraers preceded by an Embraer 190 and two Embraer 190s. Does look like the next airplane to Polderbaan is approaching, but still further to the north. A321Neo from JetBlue arriving from Boston, Massachusetts. Embraers for the time being. Now Adri, welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Has just become a member of the Aurora Sky Lounge. Thank you so much for your support there, Adri, and welcome. Be sure to use the custom emojis that are now at your disposal whenever you see fit. That goes for all members. Be sure to spam us with the custom emojis whenever you feel like it. Embraer 190s, two of them. This one is arriving from, what is it? Let me see, Billund. The next one is arriving from Aalborg. And after that, two E2 Embraers are also following. One from Nuremberg, the other one from Stockholm, and the JetBlue A321Neo has established on the glide slope. Is coming to the Polderbaan, is still far to the north, well, relatively far to the north, so we'll have to wait a little bit. Gives us a chance to have a look at these approaches to the center runway from a distance. Although with a little bit of digital zoom we can bring those small airplanes relatively close by. Luckily not too windy. Big Al says, catch you later, boy. Alan, thank you so much for joining, mate. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope to see you on the next one, my friend. Now, it is 11:34 on my watch, or on my phone, I should say. And yeah, pinching out. I was just about to say, let's have a look and see where that 7478 is at. It should be getting closer by. It is relatively close by. Two airplanes behind the JetBlue coming to Polderbaan. That is the fourth queen. Yeah, 4. We're going to see 5 in total. Although I'm not sure if we're going to see the Suparna on land on Polderbaan. Will depend on runway usage at the time. With the current runway usage in place, it is going to land on the center runway, and the same goes for the A380. Then again, it has been parallel arrivals now for a while, so I am expecting the closure of the center runway for arrivals at some point between now and the landing of the A380 and the 747 from Suparna. So I'm hopeful, cautiously, that we are going to see at least one of the last 2 big birds land on this runway. Time will tell. For now, let's turn back to the north of Polderbaan, because the next airplane to arrive, the JetBlue A321neo, is getting closer by and I think should become visible pretty soon. Anytime now, actually. Hey, Mr. Biker! Good to see you. Hope all is well, Paul. Nicely in time. You did miss a couple of big birds earlier in the show, which I will timestamp. But there are still a few coming. Our first next airplane to Polderbaan is going to be JetBlue Flight 631, the A321neo, arriving from Boston, Massachusetts. The airplane has been flying for 6 hours and 48 minutes to get from Boston to where it is right now. It is a brand new airplane, meaning less than a year old, and this one is still very much brand new. First flight was in November 2023, so this one is just as old as the A321neo from Transavia. Cables, look at that, beautiful. Well, I call them cables, they are actually vortices emanating from the flap tips. Shiny. Surfaces all look clean still. Had a great holiday, Paul. Thank you for asking. Lots of sunshine with the exception of the last 2 days, the last skiing day and the return day, but that's okay. Was a bit warm. A bit too warm actually. The snow conditions were not that great. Bit sludgy. But I'd much rather ski in warm weather with plenty of sunshine than in weather such as today, where it is all grey and low visibility. So definitely another great one. Funny how we saw some of those vortices in the beginning, then for a moment, for a period of time, we didn't see them anymore, and now they are back again at the flap tips. Alrighty, queen number 4, the second 747-8 of the show, the second 747-8 arriving from Miami, Florida. This one, Atlas Air Flight 5219, will become visible shortly. It is a 747-8 that has been flying for 7 hours and 37 minutes, 737. The airplane, 8 years old, first flight October 2015, arriving from Miami, Florida. After this 747, the next big quad will be the Emirates A380, expected around 12:20 if I recall correctly. And there is a Suparna 747-400 also expected around 5 minutes, 12:35 I should say. Now interestingly, behind this airplane we are going to see a pencil, or at least a 757-200. I believe the pencil nickname was reserved for the 300, so at least Icelandair 757 directly after this airplane. What a great machine, what a great sound, particularly that spooling down. Right, well, I see a couple of lights behind me already, so I am going to zoom out, turn back to the north, because our next airplane is Icelandair Flight 500, arriving from Reykjavik, and that is a Boeing 757-200. That's a great cable generator. Have a look at this, will you? Arriving from Reykjavik, where it left from 2 hours and 42 minutes ago. This particular airplane, 23 years old, first flight March 2000. It's been a while since we last saw one of the old livery 757, so very pleased to see her today, and also immediately after Her Majesty the Queen. En Hadi Grietje, goedemorgen. Bom dia to Swaley and all other people from Brazil. Good morning to you all. Bom dia. Now, in speaking about nice older machines that you don't see very often anymore these days, the next airplane is not one of them, but the airplane behind it is LATAM Cargo 767-300. Now you do see it more regularly than the 757 that we saw earlier, but definitely not as often anymore as a couple of years ago. Before that, we are going to see a nice little KLM Embraer 190 as a little entree before the 767-300ER from LATAM Cargo. Appearing now from the clouds is KLM flight 1740. Another long haul flight from Luxembourg to Amsterdam. 175 nautical miles, 44 minutes of flight time. Zoomed in digitally to the brim, so that looked a bit pixelated. The airplane is 13 years old. The first flight was in August 2010. After this, LATAM Cargo flight 1504 also arriving from Miami, Florida, Boeing 767-300ER. Now, a lot of NAs looking on flight radar to the specs of the 767, including the age, including the picture. It's all NA. Right, let's have a look in the cockpit. Right, have we got a picture now? Still not. Aircraft photo not available. Okay. Then we'll have to do without. LATAM cargo flight 1504 arriving from Miami, Florida. Flight time 8 hours and a minute. Airplane age? I don't know. Probably 20 years or so. 23, 25. Alrighty, the next airplane to approach Polderbaan is KLM flight 988, arriving from London City. Embraer 190 SkyTeam livery. Hey, birds in the water. We have a coot. And I believe there is a second coot. Two coots to be true, but they are there. Also see two lights of what looks to be a pickup truck, a VW pickup truck. K1 most likely then. Bird control vehicle, and here is the SkyTeam liveried Embraer 190 KLM flight 988 arriving from London City. Flight time 38 minutes. The airplane age is 11 years. The first flight of this airplane was in April 2012. And hey there, Mats, who is tuning in from Denmark. Good morning, mate. Welcome to the show. Nice to see the coots return to the canal next to the Polderbaan. It's been a while, I think. Now the other one I don't see anymore. Was already behind. This one is on the move. Oh wait, I do see it again. Apparently it was diving under. And it is indeed K1 that I saw. The VW bird control vehicle. Doesn't impress the coot that much, bird control vehicles. This is KLM flight 1188 1188. Embraer 175 arriving from Bergen. Now, another KLM Embraer up next, arriving from Bremen. Embraer 190, KLM flight 1754, and the next airplane after that is a Ryanair MAX 8 arriving from Malaga. Ryanair does sometimes get loud when they land, so the coot also is getting loud. Is it calling its friend? What's that I'm hearing? Also hearing. They are digging out the canal, I think. Heard scraping sounds coming from behind, from that area. They're definitely so the gold must be in the canal then. Right, well, missed the touchdown of the Embraer 190. I know you guys are now going to have trouble sleeping tonight, knowing that you've missed the touchdown of this airplane. And I take full responsibility for that. Next up, Ryanair MAX 8, flight 2334. Hey, and now I see 3 birds in the water. 2 over there and a third one behind that little... So that's a coot. Are these all coots? I do think... 3 coots. Alrighty, Ryanair arriving from Malaga, MAX 8. Let's look and listen. The airplane 4 years old. Flight time 2 hours and 29 minutes. Looks like a no reverser landing. Oh, come on, make some noise. What the fudge are they doing? Already almost vacating and then the slots go open. That is just remarkable. If anybody knows what we just saw, why did they opened up the slots so late, do enlighten us with your knowledge. Alrighty, KLM flight 1546 up next, Embraer 175 arriving from Leeds, flight time 47 minutes, 7-year-old airplane, first flight March 2016. The airplane behind it, 777-200, KLM flight 706 arriving from Rio de Janeiro. And I think Polderbaan once again is the only runway open for arrivals. Don't see... Where's that Embraer, that E2 Embraer arriving from Hamburg, going to the center runway. If the airplane from Hamburg is also coming to Polderbaan, then we can say with a near certainty that the center runway has been closed for arrivals once again. Might open up as a secondary runway for departures, or they stay closed, keep it closed. Might open up runway 24 again, if at some point a secondary runway for departures is going to be needed. Mrs. Professor says, start digging, boy, don't let them take all the gold. Well, they do use excavators that make the digging process a lot more easy than me with just my bare hands. So maybe I would have to sneak in during nightfall, make use of those handy machines that they have standing over there. Or maybe just rob them from their gold, let them do the work. That is maybe even easier. If we are going to commit to crimes, might as well just rob them and let them do all the work. I think that's the most economical way to do it from my perspective. Alrighty, KLM flight 706, 777-200 ER arriving from Rio de Janeiro. Flight time 10 hours 26 minutes. Flight, the airplane age is 18 years already. First flight was in February 2006. The E2 from Hamburg is coming to Polderbaan, so this is once again the only runway for arrivals. Now we have more triples arriving from South America, Latin America, approaching. On my little screen of flight radar, I see KLM flight 792, a 777-300 ER, also arriving from Sao Paulo. Hey, and that is good news, Ton. A380 definitely assigned to Polderbaan in 24 minutes. That is good news. Now the only uncertainty then is the Suparna 747, but that is still 15 minutes behind the A380. Now also a very big thank you to Malky, who celebrates 7 months of membership and writes, time flies when you watch flying. Well done, boy. Well, thank you so much for your continued support, Malky. Glad to have you as a valued member and visitor of the channel. Hope that's going to stay that way for many more months to come. If not as a member, then at least as a regular visitor. Thank you for your continued support, Malky. And thank you for your kind words. Now, E2 Embraer 195 up next. KLM flight 1780 arriving from Hamburg. 46 minutes of flight time. Brand new airplane. First flight July 2023. Looking around me, it does look like it is getting a bit more bright. It may not show on camera, but in real life over here, it does look like it is getting a bit more light. Not so much sunny, but it does look like the clouds are thinning. No reverser landing there, or will the slots open up like with that other airplane shortly before vacating the runway? No, they stay shut. They stay shut. Now, if anybody here forgot their OV fiets, it is still standing here on the exact same spot it was standing before I went on holiday. Not sure if it is attached to the fence over there or the litter box next to the bench. Did not have a close look, just walked by it and I saw that it was locked, but still everything attached to it, including the saddle, so you can still ride away from it. I think the tires are also still at the right pressure, or approximately. I think they work with electronic locks, and I think what might have happened is that the owner or the previous owner forgot to lock it or something, and now the last person renting it had trouble opening up the lock again. I've never used them myself, but I did see items on the news a while back that they are known to have some issues with their locks. Well, Polderbaan is not the place where you want to stay, when you want to be stranded if you cannot use your bike again, because the first bus stop or anything, to my knowledge, is pretty far away. Still a long walk away. Good for your cardio, but I can imagine not something you're waiting for. Thank you, JW Slijm, who is going to make a report to NS, the Dutch Railway Services, who I believe is the company that basically rents out these bicycles. Taking another sip of water here before the next airplane becomes visible. The next airplane to become visible, that has become visible just now, is KLM flight 792 777-300 ER, arriving from Sao Paulo. This airplane has been flying for 10 hours and 32 minutes to get from Sao Paulo to where it is right now. It's 15 years old. It began flying in March 2008. It's the PHBVB and wing fluff galore. Let's zoom in a little bit with digital zoom. Now, the Carpenter B chap says, greetings all from New South Wales, Australia. Good evening, mate. Welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. And Michelle Stark says, good morning from Nova Scotia in Canada. Good morning, Michelle. Welcome to the show. Welcome to all other viewers. You're watching Amos Live. My name is Boy. This is runway 18 right, the Polderbaan. Currently the only runway in use for arrivals. Relative high humidity, as you guys can see. Wing fluff over the top foil of the wings, and wing flap tip vortices emanating from the flaps. We have a little bit of wind blowing from the south, just over 10 knots. Air temperature is in the double digits Celsius, in the 50s Fahrenheit. We had an area of rain passing over the Netherlands in the morning. Might get some sunshine later in the day, but don't expect a lot of it. We already have seen, if I counted correctly, 4 747s, and the fifth one is underway. Before the 747 approaches, which is expected in half an hour from now, we are going to see the Emirates A380, which has already been assigned to this very runway we are standing next to. So we are going to see it up close. Daily Dose says, greetings from Koblenz. Herzlich willkommen. And EJ the Camperman says, hello from Plymouth. Good morning to you too, mate. John Bailey says, good morning from San Francisco. Rain and windy conditions, 52F. Well, the temperature is similar to what we have over here. Last time I checked it was, what was it again? 11 or so Celsius, so That is also 52, 54 Fahrenheit-ish. Luckily, no rain here, at least for the time being. Ashutosh asks, do you need a coffee, friend? Are you at Polderbaan? I am at Polderbaan, and thank you so much for the offering of coffee. I won't be needing it though, thank you very much. I will wrap up after the 747 from Suparna has landed. Have to be back at home in time for the delivery of a new mattress for my bed, which can be expected from 2 o'clock onwards. Now, in this last half hour, we're going to see a Boeing 747, although not sure yet if we're going to see it land on the runway we are standing directly next to. Before the 747, we are going to see the Emirates A380, expected in 15 or so minutes from now, and that has already been assigned to the runway we are standing next to. Peter says, good morning from Phoenix, Arizona. Goedemorgen, Peter. Good morning. Your name sounds very Dutch, Peter Jansen. Question is, do you also speak the language, or are you a descendant of Dutch immigrants or immigrants to the United States? That can also, of course, be a possibility. EasyJet A320neo arriving from Edinburgh. Austrian registered. Also. Das ist also true. More people on this great Thursday walking to the north of the runway, or at least the cycling path adjacent to the runway. Something you always see when weather is half decent and the A380 has not landed yet. It's still pulls in crowds, and understandably so. More yellow vehicles coming this way. Not sure if this one is Schiphol related or just a construction vehicle of sorts. I think it is a general construction vehicle. Speaking of those, Heijmans, also a well-known construction firm, apparently has its own Schiphol vehicles. Now, our next airplane to this runway, the Polderbaan, is going to be KLM flight 622, Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner, and another hiccup with flight radar. Oh no, not anymore. I was seeing NAs all over. Now I'm seeing all the details. KLM flight 622 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia, 787-10 Dreamliner, having departed from Atlanta 7 hours and 32 minutes ago. 4-year-old airplane, first flight October 2019. Turning onto the glide slope further to the north. Unfortunately, no glide slope shots, no multi-airplane glide slope shots today. John Bailey says, sweet dreams on your new mattress. Well, thank you so much in advance already. Not sure if I'm going to be able to sleep on it tonight already, because they usually deliver those mattresses rolled up and they first have to roll out and aerate or something. They need to get back into their original shape. I think that takes a day or so, 24 hours. So probably still going to be sleeping on my old mattress tonight, and then as of tomorrow night, the new one. Now, Also a very big thank you to JD, who just now gifted 5 memberships. That is definitely not necessary, mate. You have been gifting memberships so many times already now. That is, again, above and beyond. Those 5 new members, don't forget to say thank you or dankeschön to JD. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Those new members, be sure to use the custom emojis at your disposal. Now at your disposal whenever you see fit. And is that, yeah. The grebe is also back. In typical grebe fashion, as soon as you point your camera towards it, it dives under. Automated evasive maneuvers whenever they sense that a camera is pointed in their direction. But there you go. So the only thing missing now is ducks. We've seen the crow family, we've seen the seagulls, we have seen coots, and now also a grebe. So the only thing missing from the bingo card is the duckies. But we're not done yet with the live stream, so who knows? This grebe also popped up all of a sudden, so maybe some ducks will too. First up, KLM Flight 622 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia, 787-10 Dreamliner. Well, it is definitely, the clouds are definitely thinning a little bit. I mean, it's still overcast, but that does look like a little opening. Next stream, I'll be wearing shorts. Summer is coming. Well, let's not jump to conclusions. That is some extreme wishful thinking. Right, well, let's see. Now, number 3 coming to this runway is Emirates Flight 147, the A380. It is flying base, it still has to turn final. It will be preceded by a Transavia 737 and an Embraer 175 from KLM. The first airplane to arrive is going to be Transavia Flight 5132, arriving back from Barcelona, where this airplane departed from an hour and 49 minutes ago. 6 years old, first flight April 2017. Not too far behind it is going to be KLM Flight 1060, arriving from Cardiff, Embraer 175, and then it is going to be the king of the show, the Emirates A380. So if you need to go to the bathroom, now's your time, you still have a few more minutes. Same goes if you need to grab a fresh cup of coffee or make a fresh cup of tea. Now, anytime now, the Transavia 737 is going to appear. Right. There it is. Right, this is the number 1. The number 3 is the Emirates A380 Transavia flight 5132, arriving from Barcelona. Flight time 1 hour and 51 minutes. The airplane is 6 years old. The first flight was in April 2017. Alrighty. Right. Still not completely free of the cold symptoms, as you guys heard. Had to blow my nose a little bit, but then at least I will be able to speak without sounding too nasally when the airplane after this one becomes visible. This is KLM flight 1060 arriving from Cardiff, Embraer 175. Touching down after 55 minutes of flight. Airplane is 6 years old, first flight January 2018. Landing is okay, uneventful. Not going to follow it. Don't want to miss a moment of the Emirates A380, the next airplane to become visible and to land on this very runway. Emirates flight 147, the daily flight between Dubai and Amsterdam. The A380-800 has been flying for 6 hours and 34 minutes to get to where it is right now. That is par for the course, 6.5 hours. That is a very average flight time for this distance. The airplane is 11 years old. The first flight was in July 2012. Well, that definitely did not disappoint in both the audio and the visual department, if you ask me. Holy smokes. Still plenty of moisture on the runway, that is for sure. Well, not anymore now after this landing. Question is, will the last airplane of the day, the Suparna 747, also be assigned to this runway? I'm pretty sure it won't be long before we know and can see. Oh, and Don is actually answering my question already. Bad news, the Suparna 747 will land on Zwanenburg, the center runway. Well, can't have them all, but I am still going to stick around to see it land. It's definitely opening up a little bit in the sky. If you look, you can see the grimness lifting up ever so slightly. Now, as the King begins its taxi back to the main platform area, the next airplane is approaching from the other side. It is KLM flight 1486. Let's turn back to it. Embraer 190 arriving from Humberside. It's going to be followed by a Shamrock A320 in the old livery, the old standard livery, not the retro. No reverser landing there. Mrs. Professor says, off to bed now, glad I stayed up for the A380. Thanks for a great show, see you next time. Thank you so much for joining, Mrs. Professor. Sleep tight, and I will see you on the next one, undoubtedly. Butt shot from the Embraer. Next up, Shamrock Flight 604 A320. Already touching down almost. There you go. Not a lot of spacing in between. Returning from Dublin. Let's have a look in the cockpit. Dimfna. A little booty shot to boot. The airplane returning from Dublin, 16 years old, first flight June 2007. Flight time was 1 hour and 8 minutes. That's a bit longer than normal. Not substantially longer. Nice combo shot, by the way. Now, the Emirates A380 still has a long way to go, has to taxi along this line of trees back to the main platform area, which is situated in the distance behind the trees over there. If you're unfamiliar with the layout of Schiphol Airport, the main tower is over there. The terminal building is also immediately adjacent to that tower. Now, zooming out, you can see it's quite far away. Hence the reason this runway has its dedicated tower. A secondary ATC tower dedicated to inbound and outbound traffic to this runway. Lot Embraer 175, flight 263 arriving from Warsaw. Embraer 175 long range, 13 years old, first flight March 2010, i.e. it is turning 11 next month, and we also see that the firefighters are on patrol. Haven't seen them today yet, so I think if they are going around the Polderbaan, which I'm not sure about just yet, but it does seem they're coming this way. So I think we are going to get a salute from the firefighters in a couple of minutes. Looks like they're heading out to the northern threshold via the east side of the runway. We are standing on the west side, so they will turn around the threshold, come back to the south on the west side, if you're still following. Or are they returning to the fire station? And did they do around different than around the Polderbaan? On second thought, I thought they were more to the left. Apparently they are returning to the fire station. Let's check in on them later. Might have spoken too soon again. Wouldn't have been the first time. Looks like they are returning to the fire station. Right, in the meantime behind me the next airplane approaching is KLM flight 755. So we see the firefighters returning to the fire station. They did do a different route than along the Polderbaan today, it seems like. The next airplane to approach, but not yet visible, is going to be KLM flight 755, 777-200ER, arriving from Guayaquil, Ecuador. Flight time 10 hours and 23 minutes. The airplane is 19 years old. The first flight of this airplane was in January 2005. Looks like the first airplane to runway center is approaching the glide slope. No, not Turkish, but Anadolu jet arriving from Istanbul. Will probably be the first airplane. I'm also hearing a turboprop flying overhead. I'm not seeing anything. It's too high. Is that a Pilatus or is that a military turboprop flying overhead? You guys can probably see on flight radar I have filters for AMS inbound and outbound applied. It sounds like it was flying from south to north. Anyway, this is the 777-200 arriving from Guayaquil, Ecuador. 10 hours and 25 minutes of flight time. The airplane age 19 years. First flight was in January 2005. So this airplane celebrated its 19th birthday last month. Hey, Mr. Jackson, also back in the chat. Good to see you, Michael. Hope all is well. Does look like things are opening up ever so slightly. Doesn't necessarily mean that the sun is going to come out here any minute now, but it does look a bit more bright, dare I say cheerful, than it did in the beginning. We are now even able to visualize the wind through chimney smoke in the distance. Right, our next airplane is what's that? A cormorant? Aalscholver, I think it is. Yeah. So the only thing missing from today's stream in terms of bird life is then the duckies. Or are they in the meantime also in the water further to the south? No. That doesn't seem to be the case. The digging for gold has also stopped by the looks of it. Lunch break or something. Alright, well, a couple of airplanes still left. The last airplane of today's show is going to be the Suparna 747 that is now flying base. Will be landing on the center runway in a few minutes. After that, I have to call it quits for today. I have to go back and be back in time to take delivery of the mattress that I ordered last month and was going to be delivered today. Now, I'm not sure about the upcoming weekend, including tomorrow, what the weather is going to be like. It's unfortunately not going to be sunshine on all days. In fact, I think Saturday was going to be the only day with no precipitation or no significant precipitation. Tom says until 1:30 tomorrow, bad weather. Well, in that case, I might have to resort to a later time slot, do some household chores in the morning. Of course, this is only my second stream of the month so far. Almost 2 weeks of not streaming. I feel like if I can go out, then I should go out. Also, because I want to go out then. So if tomorrow the morning the weather is going to be shitty, might become a stream later in the day. I'm not sure yet. I have to look and see what the weather is going to be like in detail. Now, our next airplane over here is Top Air Portugal, flight 670, returning from Lisbon. Having departed from Lisbon 2 hours and 24 minutes ago. 24-year-old airplane, first flight February 2000, A320. Right. Let's see if we can spot airplanes a bit further ahead than we could earlier in the morning when they go to runway center. Preceding the 747 is a Saudia Dreamliner. That's a good test case to see if we can spot it a bit more to the north already. As you can see, it is definitely opening up compared to what we had in the beginning couple of hours. Initially we were able to see traffic to center only in that quadrant of the sky. I'm now pointing the camera a bit more to the left, to the north, because I do expect we might be able to see it a bit sooner. The Saudia, of course, a nice test case, giving us a frame of reference where to point the camera for the last airplane of the day, the Suparna 747 that is immediately behind it. Well, not immediately, there is a bit of spacing, but it is the next airplane after it. Just looking over the camera in the sky because I don't know where to look. Ah, okay, I have it. So over there, above the trees, that is approximately where I can point the camera, being zoomed in a little bit more for the Suparna 747. This, of course, is not a Suparna 747, but the airplane preceding it, Saudia Dreamliner 787-10, arriving from Jeddah, flight 215 in the Neom livery, if I recall correctly. I'm still struggling to press on the right label. Yeah, Neom livery, Neom. Stupid KLM airplanes, photobombing. That is so typical. Right. Yeah, those things are placed a little bit in the way. Right, so that means this is approximately where we need to look to see the last airplane of the day in a few moments. The Suparna Airlines 747-400 arriving from Nanjing, China, flight 87411. An airplane returning to the Netherlands from China after 11 hours and 12 minutes of flight time. The airplane we're about to see is 32 years old. Began flying in August of the year 1991, ladies and gentlemen. Don't know what you guys were doing back then, but I was still very much in elementary school. The 5th or 6th grade, I think. Went to middle school or high school, whatever you would like to call it. The one after elementary school in 94, so still had a couple of years of language learning and math to go. Well, that reverser was quite well audible for me, albeit with a little delay. I hope you guys picked it up on the mic as well. You probably did hear it. Right, and as birds fly away and along me landing, it is time to wrap it up for today. But not before I scroll up and say a big thank you to Marian for your super sticker. A Shiba dog writing. Now there's something in front of it. And I scrolled away from the message. Shiba dog writing with a brush writing number 1 on a piece of paper. Thank you so much for that very nice super sticker, Marian. And thank you all for watching. I hope you guys had fun. If you haven't done so already, drop a like. Make sure to spread this content to other aviation enthusiasts such as yourselves. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe. I hope to see you on the next one, hopefully tomorrow. Don't know for sure yet. Hopefully later in the weekend I can do a few more streams. Time will tell, the weather will determine that for the most part. Thanks for joining me here today. Thanks for all the super stickers and super chats. Thank you for the PayPal donations, the memberships and the gifted memberships. If you bought something from the merch store, awesome. Thank you so much. Your support means everything to me. The channel is nothing without you guys. And thank you all so much once again. Also a big thank you to the moderators for once again keeping the chat friendly and accessible. And I hope to see you on the next one. For now, I'm gonna say goodbye. Take care. And see you all hopefully soon. Bye for now.